Hello everybody, CW here. I am going to make a quick video. I know you're chuckling already. Quick video on my optic here on my bullseye pistol. This is my bullseye pistol I shoot for NRA Bullseye rimfire. It's a Benelli MP90S, I believe is the number. And it's been a good pistol. But we're going to talk about the optic, not about the pistol. And what this is a Tasco Pro Point from back in the day. It's a pretty good optic. I haven't had any problems with it, and I don't necessarily think there's a problem with it. I just want to try something new. So I priced out some new optics, and normally I go with aim points or pro points. I'm not pro points, aim points or ultra dots or match dots or one of those. And biggest reason, they're a little bit better for quality of the dot. They're a really small dot. Really good with parallax, little or none. But they're light in weight. That's the biggest thing. They're very, very light in weight. And it makes a difference because this is one-handed shooting. And you want it light. You don't want to have a lot of extra weight. You create muscle tremors. And it's not good. So you want light. So I started looking, and those darn ultra dots and match dots have gotten really expensive. Man, $280 for a match dot. Match dot allows you to choose the dot size, gives you a 2, 4, 6, 8, I think, dot sizes. And then the ultra dot is just a 2-minute dot, but it's basically the same scope without the adjustability. And that's like $240. So I didn't really want to spend that kind of money. So I started looking around, started reading reviews, started looking at different companies. And there's not a lot out there that make a 2-minute dot. So I started thinking maybe I'm going to put a dot from one of the other guns that I've got. I'll switch things around. I really didn't want to do that because then, I got to sight things in. I got to change optics. I got to really start jumping through hoops. I really didn't want to do that. So I happened to check out Riton Optics. Now I've got one of their scopes. This is a company, and I don't know the whole story. I believe I've got it right. So, you correct me if I'm wrong. But this is a company that came out of the ruins of Nikon. As I've read, it's a couple of guys or a group of guys or a group of people from Nikon who didn't really want to see it go out of business or stop. So they created a new company, and it's Riton, R-I-T-O-N Optics. And like I said, I bought one of their scopes a couple of years ago. I've showed it to you guys. It's on a 350 Legend, or a 9x45 as I like to call it. SCR, Sport Configurable Rifle. That 50 state legal rifle video I did. And it's been a really good optic. It's got a really nice reticle in it. And it's clear optics, clear glass, very repeatable. It's been perfect. So I figured, let's give these guys a try. They have 2 different dots. One of them is quite similar to the Bushnell TRS-25. And I don't have one out here, but it's that all-enclosed, little pod with a ring built in. No rings. It's got a built-in mount. Kind of like the Sig Romeo 5. A little bit smaller. And I've had one of those on here, but it doesn't fit right. This has got like a modified weaver. It doesn't have much of a clamping surface, and you need really specialized rings in order for it to work. And I don't want to alter the gun. I really should put it on the Bridgeport and just open this fly cutter up on the bottom, just reduce that metal down so it's got a bigger bite. And then it'll take a lot of different rings. And also deepen this because it's not deep enough, that cross groove there. But it also comes with a 3/8 dovetail, 10mm 3/8. So that's what I've been doing. Just one ring with a rimfire mount And you can see the block in here, so there's no magazine in the gun, and there's a block, so it's safe. These are really good rings for the money. They're very, very inexpensive. UTG, there's a couple other companies that make them. They're like $15 a pair. They come with a coating on the inside so that the scope doesn't slide. They're really, really good for the money. They really, really are. Anyway, not about rings. We're talking about the scope. So I didn't want that one. So they also make an RRD, which is similar to a lot of other optics out there. It's designed for the AR, and it comes with a cantilever mount, one ring, and they run about 140-ish bucks, so a whole lot better price. I was looking in the middle of the night the other night because I don't really sleep well, and I ran across this one for 80 bucks. So I looked and looked and did the best I could to make sure it wasn't used or something to make me not want it, like a copy or something like that. Because this has been out for a couple years, so depending on how popular it is, the Chinese may have copied it. So I was concerned. But I took a chance and I ordered it. And it came in today. And here it is. So it's the Riton Optics X1 Tactics RRD. And says here, RitonOptics.com, the only U.S. military and law enforcement veteran-owned optics company. So I like that. So I'm kind of glad I got it from them because I like to patronize that kind of stuff. And the reviews were great. The reviews showed that the glass was really, really clear. One review I saw, which I'm not really reviewing this, we're just talking about it. One review I saw showed a parallax test. And I've talked to you guys about parallax before, and it's a killer for rimfires. It's a killer for centerfire too. It's just you don't normally see it because generally you're shooting out past where the parallax is no longer a factor. Inside the 125, 150, 135 yards, parallax can be a factor. So when you're talking about a rimfire where you're talking about feet, you know, this is shot at 50 feet. That's where this is shot. So if you've got an optic on here that's got a parallax rating of 100 yards or 150 yards, you could have all kinds of problems and not even realize it, because what's happening is the relationship of your dot to the target will change depending on where you look through the scope. Okay? So if you can always keep that dot perfectly centered in the optic, it's going to be pretty good for you. And depending on the amount that it's out, okay, the amount it's out of adjustment is the amount that bullet's going to shift. If you're a lazy shooter, or you're used to shooting with an optic that doesn't really matter where the dot is, and you let that dot crowd the bottom left or the bottom right or the top right or the top left, it could be inches out. And you don't even know it. The dot is on the target. The dot is where it's supposed to be. But the relationship through the optic is not where the bullet's actually hitting. That's parallax. And one way you can test it is to take your optic, clamp it to a bench, line it up on a spot. It doesn't have to be a target, just a dot, a rigid point in space out there where you're going to be shooting. Line the reticle up on it. Now move your head around so that reticle is on the left side or on the right side or on the bottom or on the top inside your view on the scope. And you'll see that it will shift. The point of impact, the crosshairs, will shift off the target if you've got parallax building up in that scope. It comes from the lenses, the distance of the lenses, the twist of the lenses. The way red dots have to work is they have to have an angled light, an angled lens out the end. And if you look at the last lens at a lot of these red dots, you'll see it's crooked. And the reason it's crooked is because it has to be parallel with the emitter in order to track and adjust the way you need it to. Sometimes they hide it inside the scope, so the last lens will be square. But sometimes the last lens will be crooked because it's the last lens they're trying to keep weight down. And it has to be parallel with the emitter, and the emitter's always off to the side. So the emitter isn't going straight. The emitter's off to the side, so it has to shoot at an angle. So in order to make it work, they turn that lens. So the lens, the tube is running this way, straight and square. But the emitter's over on the left side, or the right, but just say left. And it's shooting across the tube. It's hitting in the center of the tube at the end of the tube. So in order to keep that there, they have to tilt that last lens so that it hits square. So the light that you see, the red dot you see, hits that lens square. So when you adjust it, it doesn't track funny. That's just how that's how these scopes work, if you didn't know. What I've got here is I believe it's a Warren ring, but it's a quick detach 30 millimeter for a 3/8 10 millimeter dovetail. And I'm hoping that it's going to work on here. So unfortunately, I can't show you mounting it, but I can tell you. We're going to pull this one off. I'll put this ring on this optic, and I'll put it on here, and then we're going to tighten it down. I'll come back and show you when I'm done. So let's get this gun out of the way, and let's pull this out of the box so you can see what you get in the box. It's a pretty big box for what it is. All right, you get a little thank you note with an email if you have any problems, and a phone number even. All their products, all the links to all their online stuff. Thank you for purchasing. So just a nice little note. And here's the optic. Now, all truth and transparency, I've already had it out. It comes with the battery separate, and I put the battery in already. The way this works is there's a on and an off between every number. So it's actually pretty nice because inevitably you're not using number 1, or in this case, highest setting number 6. You're using 3, 4, or 5. So you got to go from 0, which is off on most optics, click, 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 to 4 or 5, and then click, 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 all the way back to 0 to shut it off. So this one here, you can set it for whatever number you want to use. Let's just say 3. And then to turn it off, you go in between 3 or 4, or in between 2 and 3, and it's off. So it's instantly on or off at your setting. So that's pretty cool. It comes with proprietary flip-up covers, which for me aren't really needed, but they're nice. There's a groove inside, and there's a groove on the tube. I'll show you here on the back one. There's a little groove in there, and there's a groove inside the tube here. So when they go on, they're not only snug, but they've got like a groove that they can sit in. You see how difficult it is to go back on? It pops into that groove, and then it stays there easier or better. Comes with this cantilever mount, which is pretty nice. It's got a shoot through, so if you were low on the gun, you possibly could see your sights through there. I'm sure it's pick. It looks really wide, so it would never fit on mine because that's just a little round for a weaver, and this is a great big square pick. So this could never fit on this gun if I wanted it to. And it comes with a cloth like they all do, and it comes with an Allen wrench. So let's just spin this apart. I'll come back when I get it apart, and I'll put the other one on. Stand by. Okay, we got this mount off, and it's a really nice mount. Nice and chunky, good size screws. It's a nice mount. Uses a wrench or a Allen through the hole. It's a really nice mount. It would work really well for its purposes. We're not going to use it, so we'll set it aside. I've got the ring on here. Now this ring here, this is backwards threads. The screws are normal threads, but this is backwards threads. It's just the way they make it so that you can snug it on and not have it creep off. And these particular rings, if you don't know, the way they're designed for, you clamp the bottoms on completely, and then you tighten it with the top. Okay, so your bottom is going to be fully snugged up against itself. And then you loosen or tighten this to adjust the scope, the optic, and then you tighten this one down. So let's get this optic off here and see if we're going to have any problem making it fit on this gun. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you. Stand by. Okay, there we go. There it is, all mounted up. I'm not really keen on the lever. Of course, it's gonna work out that it falls directly where it's least favorable. This is the bolt. This is the bolt catch. The bolt doesn't hold open on this. You got to push the button in, so it's manual. So when you're done shooting, you push the bolt back and you push that button in to hold the bolt open. So it serves to allow you to take the safety out or clear any jams or whatever. So with this lever being down there, it couldn't fall anywhere in this radius up here. Nope, got to fall right there, and that's pretty much snug. And that's how you snug it, because it's backwards threads. You push it this way. It's not one of those ratchet you can pull out and move over like a lot of them are. This one's rigid where it is, so that's the way it is. I'm stuck with it, but it will work. It doesn't touch, doesn't hit. There's clearance. It's just in the way of your fingers. But it's actually in a nice place to always be able to check it. So there we go. Flip the covers open. Set your dot and commence the shooting. I don't know that I'm going to be able to show you what this dot looks like. We can try it here, but I don't think it's going to work well. Let's see. I can't turn this light off very easily. But let's see if I can see it through here for you without getting any glare. Yeah, see, it's not going to happen. Oh, there it is. You see it? I see it. There in the center of the lens. I got it set pretty light. Let me turn it back so it's on high. Of course, it's going to flare like crazy on high, and it's going to look giant. That's the way red dots do. See? It always looks crazy big in the camera as opposed to what it really is. It's a nice crisp dot, and it looks like I'm going to run it on 2. So there's off. So let me set this up and see if we can see through it and see if you can be able to view it here. There's off. See it there? That's 2. Off. 3. How much bigger 3 is than 2? You always, for bullseye, you always want to run it as small as you can, because there's a big difference sometimes. See the big difference? That's 3. That's 2. Big difference. And it'll allow you to really place your bullets more precisely. So it feels good on there. Let me see if I can back this out so it doesn't look so close. There we go. It feels good on here. Again, this is a one-handed shooting game. That's why it's got this great big grip on it. And I've modified this over the years as my hand changed. I used to be a great big fat guy, 310 pounds, and that was a big hand. So it's still, I could make it smaller still. When you make it smaller with Bondo, you hog it all out and you fill it with Bondo, and then you cut it back out. You can see a little bit of the Bondo in there from one of the times I redid it. And it's not allowed to come back behind your wrist. So it's about as far back as it can go. And you can see there where I filled in one time to make it fit me better. And this black in here is Rust-Oleum truck bed liner. It does a really good job on grips, stocks, all that kind of stuff. It's awful on truck beds. It wears right off. But on grips, it holds up really good. So there we go. The Riton Tactics RR, what is it called, if I get it right? RRD. And if you hunt around, you can find them for less than the 129-ish that most places have them for. There we go. I'll shoot it in a couple days, sight it in. And I think my next match is next Wednesday. So we'll see how it does for me in a match. That's it. God bless everybody. CW out.